wherever you take notes, get out wherever you take notes, and title it Segment Addition and Midpoint. We're going to finally put your algebra skills to use. Segment addition and midpoint. We're going to be solving for x today to find missing lengths of segments. So segment addition and midpoint. All right, let me go over a little bit of notation before we continue with this lesson. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. When I put A, B, and I do not put any symbols above it, no ray, no line, no segment, I'm signaling to you that I want the distance from A to B. That's a number. And when we speak of numbers, when we write or talk about numbers, we use equal signs with numbers. So numbers equal numbers. Now, when we talk about actual segments, like I'm talking about segment AB, like that collection of points, then I'm going to put a segment symbol above it. This is like an object, and this one is a number, a distance. When I'm talking about objects, I can't use equal signs. Objects can't equal each other. You can't say this octagon equals that octagon. You just don't use that language in math. Instead, we say that objects are congruent. So it's appropriate to use the congruent symbol when you're talking about objects and to use the equal symbol when you're talking about measures, about numbers, okay? So let's look at this real quick. Which one of these is incorrect? You guys were right. Very nice. The one that I have an issue with is B. The one that I have an issue with is B. All the other ones are looking good. The distance from A to B equals 12. I have a number equaling a number. Check. Let's look at C. Segment high is congruent to segment yo. Hi, yo. That one's good. Segments are supposed to be congruent to each other if they have the same length. Ooh, D is actually our lesson today. So it better be right, because that's what we're learning today. And B is the one that's incorrect, the one that's incorrect. We cannot say a number is congruent to a number. So if we wanted to fix this, we would either need to put segments above it, or we would need to take the squiggly line off. All right, so let's dive right in. Let's learn what our lesson is today. To get an idea of segment addition, first I need you to sketch me a picture. Draw me a picture where we have 3 points, A, B, and C, all of which are collinear. See, that's why we had that first unit. That word is not going away. And I want you to make sure B is between A and C. All right, well, so when we submitted our drawings, hopefully we got some segments. Hopefully you made sure that A and C were collinear. And then what I see students do a lot of times is I see them put B right there. I want to make sure I clear this up right now. Between and middle are two totally different words, okay? So between means it lies anywhere along segment AC. Anywhere. Between does not mean middle. Middle does not, well, middle does mean between, but between does not mean middle. So you could have put B here, 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 here. If you had put it there, that's okay. It's allowed to be a midpoint, and if it really was in the middle, then we would need to put tick marks on either side. But if they just said between, then we totally could have put it right there, and we would have satisfied our segment. Okay, so if B is between A and C, and you know the lengths, like let's say AB is 7 units, and BC is 0.5 units. Then what does AC equal? Yes, you totally just did today's lesson. What did you do? You added 7 and 0.5. You did part plus part equals whole, which is how I summarized today's lesson. Let's put it into our notes. This is called the segment addition postulate. If 3 points, A, B, and C, are collinear, and B is between A and C, then what you just said, AB plus BC equals AC. That's called the segment addition postulate. Write it down in your notes. So you'll hear me say many times, instead of always naming the segments and saying AB plus BC equals AC, I'm going to say part plus part equals whole, where those parts are, we do not assume that they are equal, okay? So B can be anywhere on segment AC, except for on A or on C, because then one of our segments would be 0, and that wouldn't make sense. Okay. Let's skip that. The second part of the lesson, remember, it's segment addition and midpoint. The second part of the lesson is midpoint. We totally went over this definition last week, but hey, it doesn't hurt to get it again. A midpoint is a point that blanks a segment into two blank segments. Bisect is a good word. I'm going to use a different word in this definition, but that's a great word. I'm going to use, that's a good word too. I'm going to use this word and this word. So sometimes if B is a really special point, it won't just be between, it will be the midpoint. So how do I show people that B is the midpoint of AC? I put tick marks on my segments. Point B is the midpoint of segment AC. Before those tick marks were there, point B was not the midpoint. So I had to add those tick marks because we are not allowed to assume midpoint. Once the tick marks are there, B received his promotion. Congratulations, you get a pay raise, B. Just kidding. You are now the middle of segment AC. What's true about, once B gets his promotion, he's the midpoint, what's true about segment AB and segment BC? What symbol goes there? Very good. Congruent goes there. And we could also say the distance from A to B equals the distance from B to C. Okay, you ready to have a strategy powwow? We're going to have a strategy powwow. On any assignment I give you, there are 3 types of questions I could ask you. So we're going to go through the 3 types, and we're just going to talk strategy. We are not going to solve for X. You're not allowed to solve yet. Okay? It's strategy time. All right, so in all of my examples, I'm going to have segment GO, and E is going to be between G and O. It may or may not be the midpoint. Okay, right now, how would we solve this problem? Trick question, trick question. So just to let you know right now, I would never give you this problem, good. I would never give this to you because we actually cannot solve this problem right now. We don't know if E is the midpoint, number 1, and we don't know how long GO is, number 2. So we can't solve it. So now I'm going to change something. I'm going to tell you that GE is congruent to EO, and I do not want you to solve. I just want you to set up the problem. How would I write an equation? What would my equation look like, even though we're not going to solve? Good, Pranika. If E is in the middle, then I know GE equals EO. So I know 3x equals 27. That's how you set up a midpoint problem. You literally put an equal sign above the midpoint. 3x equals 27. Moving on. Sometimes E is going to be a midpoint, but I'm not going to give you GE and EO. Sometimes E is a midpoint, and you're going to have half of the segment, and then you're going to have the whole segment. And I know, and so I know students they'll just see the 2 expressions, they'll see 3x, they'll see 54, and literally they'll just put an equal sign between them. So we definitely want to avoid that. We want to use our strategies. Good, good. We know, you were saying, GE is 1/2 of GO. So I'm not going to set 3x equal to 54. I could set 3x equal to half of 54. What's another way we could have done that? Instead of, I don't want to do 3x equals 54. Sorry, oh, my divided by 2 didn't show up on the screen. Mine says divide, there we go. Another way we could think about it is we could put a 3x here. Because tick mark, it means that they're congruent, they're the same length. Good, so then we could do, or we could do 6x equals 54. So see what we did there. We can either double the half, 3x doubled is 6x, or we can half the whole. And I know mine's lagging because I wrote that up there and it's not showing up on my shared screen. So let's wait for it to show up. Connection issues, sorry about that. So you can either double the half or you can half the whole. You get to choose double the half or half the whole. Last thing that could happen to you would be this situation right here. E has not received a promotion. He hasn't been working hard enough. So E is just somewhere between GO. I don't see tick mark. There's no tick marks. So we can't say 3x equals 26. We can't say 6x equals 54. Now we use the segment addition postulate. Good. Very nice. Part plus part equals whole. GE plus EO equals GO. Okay, and then we solve. Remember, we weren't solving yet. Okay, let's try some real examples. So put these down in your notes. DE equals 3x, EF equals x minus 6, and DF equals 30. Find x. So the best thing to do, especially if you're stuck, is to label your picture. DE has a value of 3x, EF has a value of x minus 6, and DF has a value of 30. I can tell this is not a midpoint problem. This is a segment addition problem. So I'm going to use my segment addition postulate, which says DE plus EF equals DF. Part plus part equals whole. Once you get here, the geometry is over. There's no more geometry. The rest is algebra. So get those algebra skills out, sharpen them, and be ready to use them. Combine like terms. Add 6 to both sides. You know the drill. Divide by 4. So last step, the opposite of multiplying is dividing. X equals 9. Of course, you could plug it back in and find out if your answer was right. 3 times 9, see, instead of x, you can substitute it. 3 times 9 is 27. 9 minus 6 is 3. Does that work? 27 plus 3 equals 30. So we just graded our own paper. We just checked our own answer. Next problem, let's try a midpoint problem. Example number 2. M is the midpoint of segment AB. Okay, in the directions we were told it was a midpoint. So on our paper, we're allowed to add tick marks because we're not assuming, we were told. Solve for x. So you remember what not to do, right? Don't set those two things equal. A half doesn't equal a whole. Go ahead and try this one.
All juniors.
So we were given AM. And we were given AB. Those do not equal each other. So remember, we have two choices. We can double AM, or we were given AM and AB. We don't like to double, we can half AB. So you double the smaller one or you half the larger one. I like working with smaller numbers, so I'm going to half the larger one. 2x minus 9 does not equal 28. It equals 14. I'm going to cut it in half. If I cut this in half, you get 14 and you get 14. So these can be set equal. Add 9. Wow. And divide by 2. Is it okay to get a decimal? Of course it is. 11.5, easy stuff. Could you plug it back in and check it? Absolutely. Always plug your answers back in. Alrighty, let's try this one. M is the midpoint of segment AB. You got promoted. Tick mark, tick mark. Well, that's getting annoying. AM equals 4x. AB equals 2x plus 12. Solve for AB. This is the same situation we had last time, except we have expressions now. AB isn't like a whole number. All right, so let's do the opposite of what we did last time. Last time I cut the whole in half. This time, let's do 4x plus 4x equals 2x plus 12. If this is 4x and it's congruent to this, then the other one is 4x as well. So I'm taking the other route. Yes, Catherine. Okay, so we've got 8x equals 2x plus 12. 6x equals 12. Beautiful answer. Easy, easy. Now, whoa, they didn't have it blank for x equals. They wanted us to solve for AB. So we're not done when we find x. We're not done. X is 2. Take it and plug it in. AB is 2x plus 12. So instead of x, we put our 2 there. So final answer. Final answer, 16. Let's try another one. You're going to try more like what we just did on the homework because you're going to do the homework. You're going to solve for x a lot. Okay, next one. A is between R and D. Okay, let's stop right there and sketch a picture, sketch a segment, and I'm going to, on purpose, not put A in the middle. Oh, it spells rad. It's so rad. Okay. RA is 1/3 RD. Oh, let's stop right there. Never put a fraction onto your segment. Instead, I want you to split up the 1 and the 3 and decide where they go separately. Don't put the fraction on your segment. RA is 1/3 of RD. So RA is 1 out of 3. Hope you're following. So RA gets the 1 and RD gets the 3 because it's 1/3, 1 and 3. So, yes, Naomi. So, if RD has been split up into 3 parts and RA got 1 of them, how many parts does AD get? 3 minus 1. It gets 2 parts. These are not how long they are. These are ratios. So I'm actually going to put an X on all of them. So I know, okay, this is not the answer. It's just the ratio. Okay, cool. RD is 24. RD is 24. So I know I need to split that up into 3 parts because it's 1/3 here. 24 divided by 3. And then we can plug it back in. So what's RA? It's 1x. So it's just 8 times 1. It's 8. What's AD? 2 times 8, it's 16. Let's try another one. R is between B and O. So we've got bow. We're going to put R randomly in between. Purposely don't put it in the middle so that you don't mistake it for a midpoint. RO equals 1/3 BR. This one's a little bit different. RO gets the 1, but BR gets the 3. So I didn't give the 3 to the whole this time because of this right here. RO is 1/3 of BR. So RO gets the 1, BR gets the 3. Remember, these are not the lengths. We put an X on them because they're just a ratio. BO equals 40. So now we can set up, dude. Okay, so now we can set up a segment addition statement using the segment addition postulate. BR plus RO equals BO. Part plus part equals whole. I made the numbers pretty so that we wouldn't have to focus on the algebra here. We could focus on the geometry of it. So that missing factor, that x, is 10. And now we can find out how long the segments are. BR was 30 all along, and RO was 10. Check your answer. Is RO 1/3 of BR? Is 10 1/3 of 30? Look what happens. The zeros cancel, and yes, it is. So we got the right answer. Okay, we only have 2 left. Points R and S divide QD, cutie, okay, in the ratio of 6 to 5 to 3. QT is 42, that's its length. Find QR and RT. So when you're given a ratio like this, it's actually just like the other 2 problems, except they already gave you the ratio. So 6 to 5 to 3. Those are not lengths. That's not how long they are. So we put an X, an X, an X. QT is 42. The whole is 42. So go ahead and find QR and RT. Go. So segment addition can involve 3 segments. It's not always 2 segments that you're adding together. It can be part plus part plus part equals whole. There's nothing that says we can't do that. So we have combined like terms. 14x equals 42. What is x? Good. X is 3. And now we can find out how long these segments were. Remember I said this segment is not 6, it's 6x. So now we've solved for the mystery of x. And so QR, his length is 18, and RT, oh, be careful here. So RT is really 8x. So it's like saying 8 times 3. And what should those add up to if we're checking our answers? 18 plus 24. 42. Last problem of the day. At the Berry Center, 3 football fans have seats W, D, and G that are collinear. Seat D is 38 feet to the left of seat W, and seat G is 22 feet to the right of seat D. Whoa. Which seat is between the other 2? Draw a picture. Every student still in class, draw a picture. If you're watching the recorded lesson, pause me and draw your own picture. So hopefully y'all drew a picture. The thing about sketching pictures with word problems is sometimes your first picture is going to be wrong. So that's when you either erase it or you draw a new one, okay? It's okay for your first picture to be wrong. So we've got W, D, and G. All right, let's see. Seat D is 38 feet to the left of seat W. Okay, so I already put these in the wrong spot. I have the luxury of a smart board, so cool. So D is 38 feet to the left of W. G is 22 feet to the right of seat D. Oh no. So if I'm at D and I go 22 to the right, do I land past W or before W? 22 is less than 38. So actually, G is somewhere in here, right? Which seat is between the other 2? It's G. And now let me ask you some questions. What does GW equal? What does GW equal? So what would you do there? The distance from G to W, how far away are those people sitting? So that's just a subtraction problem, right? Because DW is 38 and DG is 22. So if you subtract those, then you'll know the length of segment GW. So it's important to be able to take a mathematical word problem and turn it into a correct diagram, an accurate diagram where our points are in the right spot in the segment. Try your homework. Answers will be posted and homework help video will be posted.